back to the channel. It is a chilly day outside. It's 40 degrees. It's spitting snow. It's cold. It's not a day to think about tomatoes necessarily, but here I am because I know that the day is going to come when I will put my tomatoes out and peppers out. Like one day it'll be here. So I have to think about it now so that they're ready. So I have been working on growing tomatoes and peppers. Those were started at the beginning of March, and they are big enough to be ready to pot up at this point. They're looking really beautiful. The tomatoes, hold on. The tomatoes especially are looking gorgeous. I, of course, have more than I was planning on because I have pretty much 100% germination rate. So I will just have more, and that is okay. I have jalapeno peppers here as well. They're looking really good. These were started in January. And then I have bell peppers as well. They're looking great. I am gonna do something differently next year. I keep telling myself I'm gonna do it and then I don't do it. I am gonna do it next year and not go with the recommended suggestion of starting bell peppers with tomatoes. And I'm gonna start them at the same time as my jalapenos. I'd like for them to be a little bit bigger than what they are right now. And so I'm gonna give that a shot next year and see how that does. But they still are ready to be potted up because they will start growing pretty big pretty soon. So I have these containers right here that I purchased from Amazon. And I use these specifically for my roadside stand. So these are just a little bit more professional looking and a little bit nicer. So I use these for the ones I know I'm going to put on the roadside stand. And I have my little labels with my garden marker that I put what kind of tomato or pepper is when I start those up. And then for myself personally, I have all kinds of different cream cheese containers and all kinds of leftover cottage cheese containers, all kinds of things that I use to put up my own. So those aren't quite as fancy, which it doesn't matter. I also have a container of a mix of compost, topsoil, and potting soil. So I had some potting soil left, but I didn't have enough to pot all of these up. So I didn't want to purchase any more because I have things here. So I mixed the topsoil and the compost, which is really going to give it some nice nutrients. And then my potting soil has a little bit of slow release fertilizer in it. So I mixed it all together, and that's what I'm going to use for all these 4-inch pots. I think it should be enough to get me through. So if you want to see what tomato varieties I have and what pepper varieties I have, I will link the video below when I started those seeds so that you can see which ones that I'm using. So let's get started potting these up. I've got my little list here of what I'm keeping for myself so that I know, and then everything else goes on the roadside stand, and it will most likely all sell. was sitting here labeling, look what I just ran into. A little earthworm. I've started to put some compost here in the greenhouse. This is the compost right here. It looks really beautiful. And that proves to me that it's really good compost because it came with earthworms in it. And so, oh, this soil is going to be really healthy, and my field soil is going to be really healthy. Awesome. I am in the process of questioning life choices, because if you go back to my video, if you watched my video where I was doing seeds and peppers, starting the seeds, I was trying to decide, should I put them in these 6-cell packs and pot them up later, or should I go ahead and just put them in the 4-inch pots and let them grow? And I decided, no, I'm gonna go with the 6-inch. I decided I was gonna go with the 6-cell trays. Now I regret that because I'm sitting here potting all this stuff up. It was kind of a decision I had to make then, but it is what it is. So here I am. I'm still working on peppers. The sun is trying to peek out. I have to go get my kids from school. I'm gonna come back to this project in a few hours. I am back after a little bit of a break, and I want to show you the breakdown of exactly what I'm doing to pot up these starts, just in case you've never done it before, or if you're new and you're doing it for the first time, you can kind of see. If you're using some type of reusable cup, like a yogurt cup or sour cream cup or something like that, you're going to first want to put holes on the bottom of your cup. Normally, I would take a knife and just put a few holes in there. Of course, I don't have a knife. And so I found this here in the greenhouse. If you watched my pruning raspberries video, I also used this to prune the raspberries. It's not an actual garden tool. I just found it, and apparently it follows me everywhere. So I'm going to be using this, and I'm just going to snip on the sides a few holes. Then with these bigger ones, these jalapenos are in a little bit of a bigger cell. I'm going to fill this cup up with only half full of soil, like that. And then be careful when you take out your start, but don't freak out. It helps if it's a little bit wet. So if you watered them recently, and you kind of can pinch the bottom, you can also use a knife to pull it out. And if you pull some of these out and a little bit, it kind of pops out with some roots, like it's okay. It's gonna be okay. And then I'm going to place it into my soil. And then I'm gonna take just a little bit more to put at the top. Push it down, and always make sure to put your label in because you will forget what it is. So there we go. With the peppers that were in the smaller 6-cell trays, these are a little bit tinier. I filled the cup completely full, made a hole, and then popped that little plant into there. It didn't take up nearly as much space as the jalapenos are. They're not quite as developed. So I am almost done with peppers. About 20 more jalapenos to go, and then we'll start tomatoes. All right, so that was crazy. I just potted up 75 pepper plants. I technically still have 2 more pepper containers I need to go, because these are the snack peppers I haven't done yet. And of those 75, 30 of them I'm keeping. So the rest is for the roadside stand. They will sell, because I did not have enough last year. People were asking me for them, and I didn't have them. So now we're moving on to tomatoes. If you want to see all the varieties of tomatoes that I'm doing this year, you can pop down into the description to see my tomato and pepper seed starting video of all the varieties in there. But for now, we're just gonna get these potted up. Don't these look great? Look fantastic. I have my little list of things that what I want to keep of each for myself. And so let me show you how I'm going to do these, because these are going to be They're not different. I just do them in a more specific way, I suppose. So I am not going to use yogurt cups at all for this one. I'm only going to use larger cups, so sour cream cups. You could even just get red Solo cups would work, those kinds of things. Making sure it has a hole on the bottom. So let me pinch this. There we go, got some holes. All right, I'm gonna fill with my compost soil mix. Pretty much most of the way, some of the way, maybe 3/4 of the way. Okay, and then I am going to grab again from the bottom, kind of pinch it out carefully. Oh yeah, those roots look beautiful. Look at how gorgeous those are, but they are definitely ready to pot up. Now, the difference between the peppers and doing these tomatoes is that I am gonna bury these quite deep into the soil. These 2 leaves at the bottom, at the very, very bottom, they're gonna come off. They're unnecessary. They're the first leaves that came up in the plant, and we don't need them anymore. And you can also see down here, it's very hairy, and you can even see where there's like some white dots that are coming out. Those want to be roots. And so in order for them to be roots, I'm going to let them have some soil. So I'm probably going to plant it down this deep right here. And all of that from here down is going to become roots. And so I'm really going to stick it way down in there like that, cover it up like so. I'm going to stick it really all the way down into the bottom. Cover it up. I'm going to put a tad bit more soil on the top so that it will not be loosey-goosey, and so that those will become hard roots. And there we go. And also, don't forget your label. Okay? So we have, I don't even want to count how many we have. My guesstimation is, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. We probably have 50 to pot up. We'll see. But here's one down. So I am stopping the video for this evening because I have things to do for the rest of the evening. I'm almost completely done. I have a tray and a half left of tomatoes to do, so we will work on those tomorrow afternoon. And you will come with me to do that in just a second. Hey, welcome back. We are on to another day of potting up. It is a much nicer day than it was yesterday, obviously. It got up to 80 in here in the greenhouse. So I have a few more tomatoes to do. I have a few packs of peppers that I didn't get to yesterday. And I'm gonna go ahead and pot up some herbs too. So we're gonna go ahead and get that done. And then I should have time to get some seed starting done before my kids come home from school. So the last thing we're going to be doing today is starting some more seeds. I don't have to start as many seeds as I thought that I did. So that's good. That gives me a little bit of a break. So I'm going to start 4 72 count trays of zinnias. And 3 of these are going to be for out in the field. My row I have calculated, I think can fit 180 plants. And I'm hoping that I might be able to squeeze in a few more. And then 1 tray is actually for my perennial garden. I have a spot that is in the back of a bed that I don't know what perennial plant I want there really. And so instead of spending a lot of money on a perennial plant that I'm not really sure about, I thought that putting some zinnias out there would be really pretty and create kind of like a hedge situation. And so I'm going to put 72 of those kind of in a zigzagged form to create a hedge. I'll still need to be cutting on those too, so I'll be able to use those for cut bouquets. But for zinnias, I have multiple different, let's see here. Hold on a second, I gotta read how tall these get, make sure these are the right ones. Yeah, I think these are good. Okay, so I have the Oklahoma Formula Mix. I actually think I'm not going to like these because I think they're going to be, the head is going to be too small, but I'll give them a shot. And I didn't know what color I wanted, so I'm going to do 50 of these. The Ben Neary's Giant Mix, so all the colors of the Ben Neary ones are huge, so I'm going to do 50 of those. The Ballerina one, zinnia, these are new from Johnny's this year. I'm going to do 50 of those. And then the Queenie Formula Mix, there's 3 or 4 different types of those. I wanted to do a mix because I don't know which one I really like the most. So I'm going to do 50 of those as well. So that's 2 of my trays. And then I'm going to do 2 trays. Oh, I forgot these. Then I have Zinderella Lilac and Zinderella Peach. Those are from Burpee. So I'm going to probably do 25 each of those. And then I'm going to do this one, which is a County Fair blend zinnia. They're just kind of your generic cut and come again. They're all technically cut and come again, but just different sizes, different colors. I think they're probably a mix of different things. And so I'm going to do 50 of those. And then I'm making another whole tray of these that will be for my perennial gardens. I have plenty of more zinnias downstairs. If I run out, I can go back and get some more. I'm also going to do a few 6-packs of these to sell in the roadside stand. I think 6 of them I'm going to do. Then I'm going to do 6-pack of watermelon. And the watermelon is going to be for in here. I don't even know that I have room for 6 watermelon in here. I don't have room for 6 watermelon in here. I'm going to put chicken wire on the walls and they're going to climb up. Maybe I could find some room out in our arches to put those on to let them climb too, or somewhere. I'm just going to go ahead and plant the 6-pack and use the ones that look the best, I guess. And then the last one is going to be loofahs. These are apparently going to dry out, cut them open, and use them as sponges. And I just thought that was really neat. And if I could actually get a lot of sponges out of this, then I could not have to buy any sponges for the whole year, which would be pretty cool. They're gonna grow in here, again, up on a trellis on the chicken wire because they don't like the cold, they like the heat. But I'm gonna go ahead and get those started too. So we're gonna do our normal labeling, planting of the seeds, then we're gonna put plastic wrap over the top to act as a humidity dome. And I will put these down under the grow lights. They'll sit there for quite a while. I won't bring these out to the greenhouse until May, when I don't have to take them inside too much anymore. I've already got however many trays of tomatoes and peppers that I have to take in a lot. So let's get rolling. Let's get rolling. We're gonna backtrack a little bit because I totally didn't calculate right. So I'm not doing for whatever reason I was thinking these were 100 cell trays. They're not 100 cell trays, they're 72 cell count trays. So we're doing 36 of each of these ones. The Oklahoma mix, the Queenie formula, the ballerina, and the Ben Neary's giant. We're doing 36 of each of these. So that will fill 2 trays. And then we're gonna do 18 each of these, of the Zinnias, and then we'll finish up with the, you know, I may just save this for other things. So actually, I think we will do, this is part of seed starting, is figuring these things out. So actually what I think we'll do is, what do I want the most of? Let's do it that way. I would like a tray of the Ben Neary, six, 36, 36, 36, and then 18 of each of these. So I'm gonna have a full tray of Ben Neary, and then 36 of the ballerina, Queenie formula, Oklahoma formula, and then with 18 of each of the Zinnias. I'm going to have a whole tray of these and some 6-packs, but this is what's going in my perennial gardens, not for the field, but I'll still be cutting on them. All right, sounds good. I almost need to write that down, but I think I got it. So let's get started with the Ben Neary giant. We're done. We're done with everything that I had thought was going to be an afternoon project, turned into a 2-day project. The potting up took me 4 hours to pot up all that, and I ended up with 81 peppers. And hold on, I'll count the tomatoes so you know. About 70 tomato plants. Whew. That was a lot. And then got my seeds started. So all my zinnias are started. My 6-packs of zinnias and some watermelon and loofah is all ready to go. These are going to go down into the seed starting area, and then I'm going to be babying essentially these tomatoes and peppers for a while. I don't want them out here unless it is above 45 or 50 degrees outside. This is an unheated greenhouse. I have tried to heat it with a heater, and I think the space is just too big. And it's not going to work very well this year, and I just don't have the time to figure that out right now. And so maybe next year I'll get more into that. But until then, unless it's going to be above 50 at night, which we are really not there at this point. Yesterday wasn't even above 45 during the day. I'm going to be bringing them in and bringing them back out every day for a while. I was playing a game with the kids last night. We have to save the babies. And so we have to come out here and we have to get them in. And it was snowing. Like, I didn't want snow on my tomatoes. And so I was like, we have to get them inside as fast as we could. And they kind of thought that was fun for a little while. It didn't take very long. So the rest of the day is going to get I need to get some watering done. All of these starts that I potted up need to be watered again. All of this that I just started need to be watered. And then all the seedlings downstairs need to be watered. So I've got a good amount of watering to do. I'm also starting some ranunculus corms today down in the ground. I'm planting those out. They've already been soaking. But I may not do that until this evening. It just might be a nice little evening thing to do to get those first things in the ground. Spring is here in Vermont, at least. Spring is here. All the days are not very nice, but they're pushing that things need to get done. So, thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something today, or you were inspired to create something, or go start a garden, or go add something to your garden, or go do something different and just get your hands in the dirt a little bit. And I will see you in the next video. And until then, keep growing.